Bald Uakari. In the heart of the Amazon's seasonally flooded forests, there exists a primate with one of the most unsettling faces in the animal kingdom. The bald Uakari has a bright red, completely hairless face that looks disturbingly like a sunburned human, with forward-facing eyes, expressive features, and facial proportions that fall right into uncanny valley territory. When you see one looking at you, it's genuinely unsettling because the face is so human-like. That red coloration isn't paint or a skin condition, it's blood vessels visible through thin, translucent skin. And here's what's interesting. The brighter the red, the healthier the monkey. Pale faces indicate illness, particularly malaria, which is common in their habitat, so other Uakaris use face color as a health indicator when choosing mates. It's basically a built-in health status display. These monkeys live exclusively in seasonally flooded forests along the Amazon River. During flood season, the water can rise up to 30 feet, so they spend months living entirely in the canopy. They're excellent swimmers despite being arboreal primates, which helps them move between tree islands when necessary. Bald Uakaris are vulnerable to endangered depending on the subspecies. Their population has declined significantly due to habitat destruction and hunting. They're also captured for the pet trade because of their distinctive appearance. There are probably fewer than 10,000 left in the wild across all subspecies. Harpy Eagle. Few raptors in the world possess a face as disturbingly human as the Harpy Eagle's, with its forward-facing eyes and flat facial structure that makes it look like someone's judging you. This bird is one of the largest and most powerful raptors on the planet, and when photos of these eagles go viral, people's first reaction is usually, that's a person in a costume, because the proportions are just that uncanny. This bird is one of the largest and most powerful raptors on the planet. Females can weigh up to 20 pounds, with a wingspan reaching up to 7 feet. They live in the rainforests of Central and South America, hunting from the canopy. Their talons are longer than a grizzly bear's claws, and they use them to snatch monkeys and sloths straight out of trees. When a harpy eagle locks onto prey, it's basically over. The human-like face comes from their facial disc, which is similar to what owls have. It's designed to direct sound to their ears for hunting, but the way it's structured gives them that flat, forward-facing appearance. Combined with their expressive eyes and prominent brow ridge, they end up looking more like a person than a bird should. In some indigenous cultures, harpy eagles were considered mythological creatures, part human and part bird. Looking at one up closely, it's easy to see why. These birds can live up to 35 years in the wild and mate for life, raising one chick every 2 to 3 years. They're not yet endangered, but habitat loss is threatening their populations. Black-headed spider monkey. Among all the primate species known for their unsettling human-like expressions, the black-headed spider monkey stands out for taking facial resemblance to another level entirely. When you see one looking directly at you, the facial proportions are genuinely unsettling, with expressive eyes, prominent brows, and a face shape that falls right into uncanny valley territory. Their expressions mirror human emotions in ways that other primates don't quite match. These monkeys live in the Amazon basin, spending almost their entire lives in the canopy. They use their prehensile tails like a fifth limb, which gives them incredible mobility through the trees. A spider monkey's tail is strong enough to support its entire body weight, and the underside has a bare patch of skin with fingerprint-like ridges for better grip. Basically, they've got a hand growing out of their backside. What makes them seem especially human is their social behavior. They live in groups called troops, usually 20 to 30 individuals, and they have complex social hierarchies. Females are dominant, which is unusual for primates. They show clear preferences for certain individuals, maintain long-term friendships, and even hold grudges. When a spider monkey is upset, you can see it in their face just like you would with a person. Naked mole rat. Imagine a tiny wrinkled creature that looks like it's seen every struggle life has to offer. That's essentially what a naked mole rat looks like. These rodents have loose, saggy skin that folds and wrinkles around their face, creating an appearance that's uncomfortably human-like. They're almost completely hairless, nearly blind, and they live their entire lives underground in East Africa. But here's where it gets interesting beyond just looks. Naked mole rats don't get cancer. Scientists have been studying them for decades trying to figure out why, and it has to do with a specific type of hyaluronic acid in their tissues that prevents cells from overcrowding. They also don't feel pain from acid or capsaicin because they lack a specific neurotransmitter, and they can live up to 30 years, which is absurdly long for a rodent their size. Their social structure is equally bizarre. They're eusocial, like bees or ants, which is extremely rare in mammals. A colony has one breeding queen and a few breeding males, while all the other mole rats are workers. The queen produces pheromones that suppress reproduction in other females. If the queen dies, there's usually a violent battle to determine who takes over. Potus monkey on the African savanna. An unusual sight greets those who venture into the open grasslands. A monkey with a face that looks shockingly like an elderly human. The light-colored facial skin, the wrinkles around the eyes and mouth, and the overall facial structure create this disturbing resemblance that makes you do a double take. When you see one head-on, the proportions are so human-like that it's genuinely unsettling. It's not just primate features, it's specifically human facial architecture. These monkeys live in the African savanna, which makes them unusual among primates. Most primates are arboreal, but Potus monkeys spend most of their time on the ground in open grasslands. They're built for speed. Potus monkeys are the fastest primates on land, capable of reaching speeds up to 35 miles per hour. When threatened, they sprint across the savanna rather than climbing to safety. Their social structure is interesting. Groups are led by a single adult male who acts as a sentinel, watching for predators while the females and young forage. If danger approaches, the male creates a distraction, drawing predators away from the group. It's basically a sacrificial role, and males that survive long enough to breed are the ones that master this dangerous job. Potus monkeys have long limbs and a lean build that's optimized for running. They eat fruits, seeds, insects, and gum from acacia trees. During the dry season, they can travel enormous distances searching for food and water. They're currently listed as least concern, but habitat loss and fragmentation are slowly reducing their range across the Sahel region of Africa. By the way, if you're finding these faces as fascinating as I do, I post animal content like this regularly. Subscribing would mean a lot. Thanks. Potoo Bird. With a permanently horrified expression that looks like it just witnessed something it can never unsee, the Potoo Bird is nature's master of facial drama. These birds have massive yellow eyes that face forward like a human's, and their beak positioning creates what looks like a shocked, gaping expression. When they're active at night, that stare is genuinely unsettling. Potoos are masters of camouflage. During the day, they perch on broken tree stumps and freeze completely, looking exactly like a piece of dead wood. Their mottled gray-brown plumage matches tree bark perfectly, and they position themselves vertically with their heads tilted up. Even their eyelids have slits that let them watch for predators while appearing to have their eyes closed. At night, they're active predators. They sit motionless on a perch and wait for flying insects, then dart out to catch them mid-air before returning to the exact same spot. Their mouths are huge relative to their body size, which helps them snatch large moths and beetles, and their call is haunting. It's this mournful descending wail that sounds almost human. Sun bear. If you've ever seen a video of a sun bear standing on its hind legs in a zoo and couldn't decide if you were looking at a person or an animal, you're not alone. That moment of confusion is completely justified. When sun bears stand upright, they look eerily like people in bear costumes, with forward-facing eyes, relatively flat faces, and a bipedal stance that's more human-like than other bear species. Videos of sun bears standing in zoos regularly go viral because people genuinely can't tell if they're looking at a person or an animal. The resemblance is that strong. Sun bears are the smallest bear species, weighing around 150 pounds at most. They live in the tropical forests of Southeast Asia, and they're excellent climbers. That upright stance isn't just for show, they use it to reach fruit and honey in trees, and their long tongues, which can extend up to 10 inches, help them extract insects from crevices. The chest patch on many sun bears creates an almost vest-like appearance, which adds to the costume effect when they're standing. Combined with their shorter snouts compared to other bears and those forward-facing eyes, they've got facial proportions that read as surprisingly human. Their paws are also relatively large and flat, which gives them a human-like gait. Emperor Tamarin. Walk through the Amazon rainforest and you might spot what appears to be a tiny old gentleman sporting the most elaborate handlebar mustache you've ever seen. That's the Emperor Tamarin in all its glory. The long white mustache drapes down on both sides of its face, and when combined with the facial structure and eye placement, it creates this unmistakable resemblance to a distinguished elderly human. It was literally named after Emperor Wilhelm II of Germany because early explorers thought it looked like him. These small primates live in the Amazon rainforest, specifically in the southwest Amazon basin across Peru, Brazil, and Bolivia. They're arboreal, spending almost their entire lives in the trees at heights of 80 to 90 feet. Emperor tamarins are omnivorous, eating fruits, flowers, nectar, tree sap, and insects. They play an important role in seed dispersal throughout their habitat. What makes them even more interesting is their social structure. They live in groups of 4 to 20 individuals with a complex hierarchy. Usually the oldest female is dominant. They're cooperative breeders, meaning the entire group helps raise infants. Males often carry the babies and only hand them to mothers for nursing. Emperor tamarins communicate through a series of high-pitched calls and chirps. They're territorial and will aggressively defend their range from other tamarin groups. That distinctive mustache isn't just for looks. It likely plays a role in individual recognition and social signaling within the group. They're currently listed as least concern, but like most rainforest species, deforestation poses a long-term threat to their populations. Barn owl nature designed an acoustic hunting system so efficient that these birds can hunt in complete darkness using only sound. Yet what we notice first is their uncannily human-like face. Barn owls have heart-shaped facial discs that give them an almost human-like appearance when viewed head-on, combined with their forward-facing dark eyes. Their face structure is more humanoid than most birds, and it's noticeable enough that people have been associating barn owls with ghosts and spirits for centuries. That facial disc isn't just for looks. It's an acoustic funnel that channels sound to their ears, which are asymmetrically placed on their skull. One ear is higher than the other, which lets them pinpoint prey location in complete darkness using sound alone. They can hunt in total blackness and still strike within a centimeter of where they heard a mouse rustling. Their flight is completely silent thanks to specialized feather structures that break up air turbulence. This means prey doesn't hear them coming, and it also means the owl doesn't create noise that would interfere with their own hearing while hunting. It's an incredibly refined predator adaptation. Barn owls are one of the most widespread bird species on the planet. They're found on every continent except Antarctica, thriving in agricultural areas, grasslands, and open woodlands. They're actually beneficial to farmers because a single barn owl family can consume thousands of rodents in a year. Despite their ghostly appearance and association with bad omens in some cultures, they're one of the most helpful birds to have around. Pygmy slow loris. Adorable, as they may look with their enormous forward-facing eyes and round faces, pygmy slow lorises are among the most trafficked animals on the planet, victims of their own irresistible cuteness. The pygmy slow loris has a round face with enormous forward-facing eyes that make it look like a tiny human baby. It's one of those animals that activates every protective instinct people have, which is exactly why it's one of the most trafficked animals in the illegal pet trade. Those big eyes and small face create an appearance that people find irresistibly cute. But here's what most people don't know. Slow lorises are venomous. They produce toxins that they mix with their saliva. When they bite, they deliver this venom, which can cause anaphylactic shock in humans. It's one of the only venomous primates on Earth, and it's a defensive adaptation against predators. These primates are nocturnal and live in the forests of Southeast Asia. They move incredibly slowly through the branches, which helps them avoid detection. Their diet consists mainly of tree sap, nectar, and insects. They can hang from branches using just their feet while using both hands to feed. The illegal pet trade is devastating their populations. Traders often pull their teeth out with pliers to make them seem safe, which usually leads to infection and death. Beyond that, habitat destruction is fragmenting their range. Depending on the species, slow lorises are listed as vulnerable, endangered, or critically endangered. If you see videos of pet slow lorises online, those animals were almost certainly taken illegally, and they're probably suffering even if they look cute. If this sparked your curiosity, consider subscribing so you don't miss future animal content. Thanks for watching.